Hello and good day. I welcome you back to our discussion on employability, where we looked at some core issues as it relates to how people, whether employable or unemployable. Just a quick recap, we're able to look at various issues, and we made mention of the fact that employability is a multifaceted concept and it deals with issues that bother with whether somebody is fit for the job, and of course, the yardstick or the unit of analysis that we can know whether somebody is fit or not is by examining the skill this person possesses and his or her input in the workplace. Of course, you are coming from the four walls of a tertiary institution and you are expected to perform optimally. But when you are not doing what is expected or doing below standard, definitely we could say that such person is not employable. Now, we want to take a step further, from what we discussed in our last session, by looking at why do workers remain unemployable? Why do workers remain unemployable? And this is going to be the major issue we'll be discussing in today's lesson. Now, just like we said, employability is just a situation whereby we can be able to marry what we have to what we do in the workplace. But when it comes to the reverse, in terms of people not being employable, what happens? All right, and that's actually what unemployability is all about. It refers to a situation where individuals, despite their desire and willingness to work, they find it difficult to get or maintain gainful employment. And one of the things we discussed in our last class was the fact that when people, it's not just that you don't have the job is there, but people remain unemployable because of the fact that they cannot maintain the job they have. They cannot maintain the work they are doing. Why? Because they don't have the necessary skills, they don't have the necessary resources, they don't have the necessary attitude or knowledge they need to keep this work going. Someone professes to have attained the bachelor's degree in accounting, but you cannot just maintain normal, petty cash book. It will be difficult to do that. That tells you that the person is not fit or ripe. Alright? So the ability to maintain and secure a job is actually what we're talking about here. Please, I want you to understand the fact that unemployment is different from unemployability. Somebody is unemployed is different from you being unemployable. Unemployed, there's no job. But for unemployability, the job is there, but you're not fit to do the job, despite you being professing to have, acquired one skill or the other. So it extends beyond mere unemployment statistics. Like I said, it encompasses a range of factors that hinder a person's ability to find suitable work and stay employed. Alright, so basically today we'll be looking at some reasons people remain unemployable, and basically we're looking at it from two dimensions: the economic and the personal factors. Economic factors as well as the personal factors that make people remain unemployable. So we'll begin with the economic factors, the economic variables. These actually play a significant role in explaining employability, and several key factors can actually lead people or make people to become unemployable. That's from the economic point of view. What are some of these factors? Economic recession. When we talk about recession, we're talking about the decline in economic activities, and this actually leads to unemployment at the end of the day. Now, when there is recession, businesses actually fold up. Some that are lucky might just be there to survive and, of course, reduce their workforce, or in HR we call it downsizing. All right, or retrenchment. So they reduce their workforce or freeze hiring to cost. They don't just want to make people become unemployed at the end of the day. They can just decide to reduce the number of staff or reduce salary. So unemployability can result from an extended period of unemployment during a recession. As people leave jobs, they become out of date. They become outdated with the current market trend. And for them to now get back to the work at the end of the day, or maybe later on, it becomes a problem because job skills can become outdated and individuals may lose touch with industry trends and network. Somebody who leaves a particular business maybe for after 5 or 4 or 5 years, it comes back to it, the thing he left will not be the same again. It may not be difficult for him to catch up with trends or with the dynamics that is operating within that current market. So when there's recession, people leave job, then for them to come back, it becomes a problem. So the skill is now obsolete. So long-term unemployment can also erode an individual's confidence and mental well-being because making it harder to re-enter the job market when the economy recovers. So economic recession. We also have industry shift. Industry shift as another economic factor that make people become unemployable. Industry evolve over time due to technological advancement, innovation, discovery, and what have you. Changing customer preferences is another example, and global competition. So, as there's a shift in our industries, certain jobs will become less in demand and others become more valuable. Workers in declining industries may become unemployable if they don't acquire new skills or transition into that sector that is booming or growing. Now, for instance, the decline of traditional manufacturing jobs has actually left many workers unemployed if they don't adapt to new roles in technology or healthcare or other expanding sectors. Gone were those days where we had typewriters, we had typists, they call them confidential secretaries and all that. Do they have that now? Of course, you can answer that. That job, that industry has actually gone out of date. Yes, you have secretaries, but in limited, dimension. So that tells you that not all jobs will be relevant tomorrow. So we have to keep tab, like I told you in our last class, with the changing conditions of our business environment. The world is evolving and definitely change will change. So don't just sit where you are. Position yourself for tomorrow and see where the world is going. See where the business world is shifting. Look at what the world is thinking now. All right? And identify the possibility for a better tomorrow. Now, you can follow conventions from ILO, that's International Labour Organization. You can follow conventions from the World Bank to see trends as to how businesses are moving. All these agencies are not just there for the fun of it. They are there to bring in new dimensions to the business world, to the business environment, which every organization in the world would definitely align with. So, understand how these shifts are going and align yourself with these things. Because the job you are doing now, the business where you are working now, or the organization where you are working now, might face less demand. And once there's less demand, definitely it affects the customer base. And of course, that work will become obsolete. Globalization is another economic factor that can bring about unemployability. Now, when we say globalization, it's just talking about the fact that the world is seen like a small bedroom. Now, picture your bedroom where you wake and sleep every day. Within that bedroom, Of course, you have so many things at your convenience. You could pick up your shoe, pick up your bag, pick up your clothes, pick up anything at your convenience. That's exactly what the world is. So you can connect to anything within your bedroom at any time. So your bedroom is like the world, the global society. And of course, you reaching out to anything and to anybody at any time is as easy as anything. With a dial of a button on your phone, you can connect to somebody in Asia, in America, in Ghana, in Australia. There are no boundaries, no geographical boundaries. Everybody is connected together. And that's actually the foundation by which we can explain globalization. So, globalization has expanded markets and business opportunities. But on the other hand, it has increased competition because everybody is strangling or struggling, you know, for customers or for market share. Companies often outsource jobs to lower wage countries, which can result in job displacements in higher wage regions. Now, when we talk about globalization, it can make some local industries uncompetitive, leading to layoffs and unemployment. So, workers in such industries may need to develop new skills to remain employable or seek opportunities in different sectors. All right, so they seek opportunities in different sectors. The issue of globalization here now, know that everywhere you go in the world, you have Coca-Cola, you have Unilever, you have PZ, you have Google, you have IBM, you have so many, you have Facebook, you have Apple. Any country you go in the world, that's globalization for you. All right, there are no boundaries. Everybody is connected, and that's why you have multinational corporations having tentacles in so many countries of the world today. Now, the thing that some of these big companies do is that they leave, just for them to reduce their cost of production or just for them to increase their markets, they focus more on those countries with, little wage earnings. When a man brings in $100,000 to Nigeria to set up a business, the man would definitely be money. All right, because when he converts that $100,000 to naira, it's huge sum. All right. Now, in that situation, as they penetrate into, low-wage nations like countries in sub-Saharan Africa, it becomes a problem for those high-wage regions. All right. So as they focus on this lower region, the countries, the businesses within these lower regions would suffer. All right, because they tend to lose workers to these multinationals. In Nigeria today, minimum wage is 30,000 naira. And when these multinationals come, they could decide to increase it, let's say 50,000 naira. So these workers leave our local industries to go work for the multinationals. So people who are now living would, at the end of the day, those who are living will benefit more, and while those who remain within these local businesses would suffer. And if they like it or not, whether we like it or not, the work business would suffer. All right, they won't have enough funds to run the business, and workers there will remain redundant. All right, so that's one of the major problems that in globalization would do, most especially for less developed countries. Now, aside globalization, another issue is automation and technological advancement. Automation and technological advancement. And actually, that's where the world is going today. Automation, artificial intelligence, all of these things have actually replaced some jobs today. And this has led to job displacement. Workers in jobs susceptible to automation, such as routine manual or clerical work, can become unemployable if they do not acquire new skills. The need for tech savvy individuals in the workforce is on the rise, and those without the skills in terms of digital literacy may find it difficult to secure employment. Not just difficult to secure employment, they would also find it difficult to retain their jobs. All right. In today's world, if you go to some hospitals today, before you could see a doctor, you need to take your vitals, your blood pressure, your temperature, and what have you. You don't have all those, nurses doing those things anymore. You have robots or machine. Just go there, insert your finger, or do some necessary scan. It gives you results immediately. All right. So that tells you that there's a displacement. Of course, you become unemployable if you just want to sit down and be taking vitals like that. It becomes a problem. Or teachers who do not have, or teachers or lecturers or trainers who are not tech savvy cannot also align within this new trend. They become unemployable. Look at the time we had COVID. Everybody was going into online meetings, online learning, online interacting and what have you. Anybody who is not tech savvy cannot connect. Of course, on a good day, we would have called ourselves. Of course, you're listening to me now. We would have called ourselves to maybe one classroom or one event center, meet on a Saturday morning, have a talk, have this thing and all that. But due to the fact that everybody is, tech compliant, tech savvy, we can connect regardless of how far we are. Not everybody is in Abuja. Not everybody is in Lagos. Some of you are in some Port Harcourt, some are in Ibadan. But we can still have this training. So that's what automation will do. So those who cannot align with these changes in terms of technological advancement would become unemployable. The business world today is, of course, if you go to some organizations, before COVID, they were like 50, but today they're like 20, 15. Staff strength has reduced because they now see that machine and AI can actually replace what man can do. So this is a signal for you to remain relevant. And how can you remain relevant is by ensuring that you improve your digital skills, digital literacy, be tech savvy in your field, whether it's HR, accounting, what have you. There are so many technological applications that you can employ to help improve your business. Another factor, still talking about the economic variable, is education and skill mismatch. There are changes in the job market today, and this may result in a disconnection between the skills workers possess or have and the skills the employers demand. Now, this misalignment or this mismatch could lead to unemployment or you being unemployable. Let me give you an instance. Somebody with a degree in a field with limited job prospect or who hasn't updated his skill to align with current industry demands may struggle to find suitable employment. Now, if you see job adverts, they will tell you that certification in a particular field is an added advantage. ICT skill is an added advantage. That tells you that you need to up your game as you look for jobs. Like I told you earlier, regardless of where you are, make sure that you are relevant. Alright? Know what your employer wants. Know what your employer actually wants and improve on those things. Discrimination and labor market segmentation. Alright? Economic factors can also interact with social factors, leading to discrimination in hiring practices. Discrimination based on age, gender, race, and or other factors can make certain individuals unemployable despite their qualification. You can be the best hand for the job, but there are some social factors, alright, which can, make somebody unemployable. Unemployable in terms of you not being fit for the job. And that's why in our previous, lesson, we talked about networking. All right, and that's why you need to network. All right, join associations, join people in their clubs and what have you, so that you become relevant. Sometimes people look inwards for certain positioning, they look inwards for certain placements. And when you are not within that group or that clique, it becomes a problem for you. This is not a sin. That's what we refer to as office politics or organizational politics. You have to be strategic in your dealings. All right? For you to avoid segmentation and discrimination, you know your job, but at the same time, you must network your way. You must also interact so that you are not left behind. The world is a social environment, and when you say social, it deals with interaction. You must be able to interact well, interact right, so that you are not left behind. All right. So we are done with the economic factors that lead to you being unemployable. Now the next would be the personal factors, and these also impact employability significantly, sometimes even more than those factors we've identified under the economic factors. Now, these factors can either enhance or hinder an individual's ability to secure and maintain employment. There are some personal things that we all possess which makes us not employable. You might have the skill, you might have the knowledge, you might have the attitude, but some personal issues can debar you from you being employable. One is lack of motivation. This is very important. When you talk about employability, it's an important force to make people employable. So, when an individual lacks motivation, he or she may not actively seek employment, may not even put an effort required to excel in the job, or may lack the drive to learn new skills. Your personal self might think, oh, I don't need this thing though. Let me just, stay here. I'm fine. I know the owner of the company. When I gather money, I'll go and start my own business. See, you have to make the best opportunity of where you are now. All right, so be motivated. All right, be enthusiastic about your job, and you be willing to go the extra mile. You might think nobody is seeing you, but it will definitely speak for you tomorrow. So be motivated on the job. See the business as your own. Maybe later on I wish we have not time. Maybe I'll speak with the director. We would want to talk about something on employee engagement. Is one of natural skill we need to employ, because when you say you are engaged with the job, you see the job as your own. You are working for a business, but see it as your own. That brings about a motivation that you want to succeed, you want to excel. All right. So when people lack this, it becomes a problem for them to be employable. They are on the job, but their mind is not there. Aside lack of motivation, we also have poor work ethics. Work ethics actually deals with the qualities that people display every day in the course of their job. For example, how punctual are you? How reliable are you? How honest are you? All right, all of those things define work ethics. Now, individuals with poor ethics may struggle to maintain their jobs, and of course, it may be difficult for you to be recommended for promotion or to take up a higher job role. Some people are always absent, some people are always tardy while on the job. There's no commitment to task, they're always lethargic. All of those things would definitely debar you from, getting to the higher level. So, employability is not just you having the skill you need. You need to have the right attitude. Like I told you in our previous lesson about the KSA principle. KSA principle. K stands for knowledge, S stands for skills, and A stands for attitude. You might have the skill and knowledge, but when the right attitude is not there, it becomes a problem. And that's where employers say we'll hire for attitude and train for knowledge. When somebody has personal qualities, he or she will be ripe enough to be trained to be skilled enough for the job. Apart from work ethics, we also have criminal records. It's a personal issue that some people have to make them unemployable. This is actually is very important because it has impact significantly on your employability. Now, many employers conduct background checks, and also individuals with criminal records may face discrimination in the hiring process or as they move on in the organization. When somebody is faced with some legal, issues, he or she might not definitely be fit for some jobs. When somebody is not trustworthy or you have an issue with a client, you've been called to the police station over time to explain certain things, people are suspicious of your dealings and what have you. You are shading your dealings, you cut corners, you don't remit, information the way you should. It becomes a problem. Now, don't forget, you might be in that organization today, you might think maybe you want to run away to another country or you want to set up your own business. It will definitely speak for you as, the world leaves. So you don't know where all of those things will crop up one day. So be right in your attitude when, doing your job. Now, substance abuse issue is another. When somebody is not, when somebody takes substance abuse like alcohol, Indian hemp, and what have you, it affects a business, and nobody would want to delegate certain form of business task to you. For you to get promotion may be difficult. For you to be able to be the head of a team may be difficult. You are not employable, as the case may be. So, aside substance abuse, lack of soft skill, like we discussed in our previous class, when somebody does not have the right communication skill, the skill for teamwork, adaptability, problem solving skill, such person will remain unemployable. So, develop all the skills as you move on within the workplace. Inadequate personal branding is also very key. When you say personal branding, we're talking about you selling yourself. Now, in today's digital age, personal branding matters a whole lot. Now, individuals who do not have professional online presence or do not effectively market their skills and experiences may miss out on job opportunities. Alright? Now, build a strong personal brand, including a well-crafted resume and a professional online presence. All of these things will enhance your employability. You might think you have a job now, they are paying you well. There are some jobs that pay you more, far, far better. But when you don't brand yourself, when you don't, sell yourself well, it becomes a problem. Now, the business world is competitive, so also is the human resource world. Even within the organization, the company might want to expand, to another region. They might be looking for somebody to take up, the head of that team. When you are not well branded, of course, they will bypass you. Now, branding actually cuts across different dimensions. It could be your physique. How do you dress? How do you socialize? What is our personal branding? Right? The kind of clothes you wear, the way you smell, the way your look and feel, your courage, all of those things portray your branding. Alright? The way you talk, the way you wade into people's affairs, that's on the one hand. On the other hand, your presence online too. Of course, build a good, LinkedIn profile for people to see you. Now, they are looking for somebody to take up a position in the future. Yes, you are somewhere. They could read your profile, be enticed, and you are called for a chat. So all these things are important in, employability. And in conclusion, to combat unemployability, there's a multifaceted approach that is needed. It's not just you and me that would be needed to drive this, but a holistic view. The government's there, all right, to lead the training programs, to drive labor market reforms. We also have private sector investments, to drive employee development programs. Then we also have our tertiary institutions to inculcate people with the right skills, as well as organizations. Individual organizations must also be responsible enough to introduce, employability skills. So with this, people can remain employable. So we've come to the end of today's lesson. As we did in the previous lesson, please let's have your views, your questions, and then we'll take up the chat from there. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.